Yeah. So like I said, is that if you're joining right now, I need you to like the video and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. So what we're going to talk about tonight, don't say you had a bad week. I mean, everybody has a bad week. Somebody said, don't say I had a bad week. Everybody has a bad week, but it's how you come out of it. You don't let it hold you down. You don't let it stop you. Everybody has bad weeks, and that's just okay, right? And bad weeks are in relation to what, going on. Somebody may have a bad week because they lost $1 million, but they got 10 more in the bank. Somebody else may have a bad week because they can't eat that day. So it's all relative. It's all relative. So like I said, is that it's not, it just depends on, it's relative. But like I said, if you're just joining in, I need you guys to like the content and also subscribe to the channel. So let's move on. My Instagram views are falling off bad. Guess what? That's a sign of the down market, I guess. But we got about 600-700 people on YouTube right now, I think. How many people we got? Yeah, we got about 600 people. So it'll grow as we go on. So yeah, we want to talk a little bit about electric vehicles because I believe in those a lot. We're going to talk about ARM, the IPO. Then we're going to talk about Bitcoin having the opportunities that could be there. And then we're going to talk about AI and Hollywood. So let's start. Get Forrest going. It was no, bro, it's football. You're right, David. David just said, no, bro, it's football. I forgot about football. That's what it is. That's one reason why I hate the NFL. I'm just joking. I don't hate it. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because it's football. I forgot. I don't watch football. Let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to give 3 minutes to this, then we're going to get into the subject, man, because I forgot about that. Football is the biggest distraction possibly on the American human race that could possibly be happening. It's an obvious distraction, man. You got to remember is that the elite, the rich, and the banks want you distracted. They don't want you paying attention. They don't want you to learn anything. They just want you to live your life, pay your taxes, shut up, stay out of the way, and die with no money. That's what they want. And football is one of the biggest distractions. Some people, and think about this. You can love football. It's a big thing. It's a big thing about loving something and being consumed by it. I love basketball. I'm not consumed by basketball. You see what I'm saying? I love basketball. Basketball changed my life. If it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't be the man I am today. But I'm not consumed by basketball. It's a big difference, right? Some people, in the football season, they're completely inaccessible to the rest of society. Some people, inaccessible to their kids, their jobs, their production falls down. Their significant others can't really talk to them. Their football season, they're just gone. Now, if you remove yourself that much from stuff, how can you see what I'm saying is that it's ridiculous what football does to people. It's the common gladiator games. The modern gladiator games. You go back to the Roman Empire. And I lost 200 people just talking about football on my YouTube. They hate that, man. But let's move on. Yeah, my numbers are way down, but let's move on. Right? People leave just because you're talking about it, right? So, like I said, is the Roman Empire, one way they controlled the population is that they provided gladiator games. The more violent the games, the better. Right? And people were distracted. They were consumed by them. So the rich, the elite, the senators, and all the people in power can continue to build their wealth and stay on top. And that was a strategy implemented by the Roman Empire, and it's well documented that they did this to distract people. Now, what do you think they're doing in a modern society? They're doing the same thing. It's no different. They're doing the exact same thing. It's just in a different way. Right? They're still distracting people. They're still keeping away. The government is funding the NFL. All the stadiums, all funded by government organizations. If anything happens in football, they get called to Congress, and Congress questions them about why they're not producing the highest quality sports. So it's all part of a bigger thing, right? But let's move on because people get mad when I talk about football. So we're going to talk about electric vehicles. We're going to give it 6 minutes, and we're going to move on to another subject, ARM IPO. We're going to talk about halving in Bitcoin, AI, and Hollywood, and we're going to try to educate you guys along the way. So let's move on, right? So electric vehicles, right, is that they're moving along pretty fast. And I think there's a mandate by the U.S. government by 2030 or 35 that all cars have to be EV cars. I don't think we're going to make that, but I'm going to tell you the positive side where we can make money on EVs. And I'm going to tell you the negative side about electric vehicles because they're both sides. And I'm going to tell you a bigger play. I actually talked about this, part of this at Tuskegee University this past week about how there's a bigger play in the future that could be a way for you to make a lot of money over the next 10 or 20 years, and also electric vehicles over the short term, right? So electric vehicles they're supposed to help reduce pollution. They're supposed to help reduce resources and all these great things. I'm going to talk to you about the positive first, right? Is that I think that Tesla is one of the easiest plays in the next 2 years possible. It's almost a no-brainer, almost 100, I'd say 95% chance you're going to double or triple or quadruple your money in Tesla over the next 2 years, especially when the market recovers next year. Because of a lot of factors, Tesla has data, they have AI, they have a lot of the things, the electric vehicle component, and they also have auto taxis, which they're producing, and they've stated that they're going to make all Teslas able to drive by themselves. And that's going to allow people to create an income from their Tesla cars. Now, you think about an environment like that. If I'm in an environment and I'm walking to the car dealership, they say you can buy this Cadillac right here. I mean, it ain't going to make you no money, but it looks nice. Or you can buy this Tesla electric vehicle. And while you sleeping at night, while you at work, while you at your kids' football or basketball, whatever game, sports game, we're going to let that car go out and make money for you. And it's going to pay your car. And it's going to provide a little secondary income. Now, at the beginning of that, there's going to be a mad rush on Tesla cars. Now, over time, that model is not going to play out because too much competition and stuff like that. You'll still be able to make some money, but not as much. But at first, like with Airbnbs, the first movers make all the money. So Tesla is going to receive a humongous, in the next 5 years, Tesla will receive a humongous amount of inflow of capital, inflow of money, inflow of sales due to this factor that they're working on robo-taxis. Now, it's going to cause investment. It's going to be people on Instagram. Hey, man, you know how they tell you about the gurus online? They'll be like, hey, you got to get this. Look at this hustle, man. I got 6 Teslas, all of them making money. They'll be talking like that because Teslas will be a way for people to make money. Also is that our society is moving towards this environmental kick. So that's going to be another thing. Tesla does have AI, and they're going to license this AI to other companies. So in that regard, they're also going to be able to make money. So I want to talk about the other side of this because I'm telling you, Tesla's a bottoming. Over the next 4 years, it's going to make people 2, 3, 4, 5 times their money. Options maybe do well too. The short term, I don't know for the rest of the year, it may be choppy. But next year, you'll see some serious growth in Tesla. It may even happen this year, but I'm saying next year. But the downside of this is what people don't talk about, but it's also an opportunity as well, is that EV vehicles require a lot of rare earth minerals that come mostly from Africa. And they got little kids going into mines, dying and getting sick, getting these cobalt and stuff out of the ground. And what I see in the future is you got to look at history to know what's going to happen in the future. Go back to the oil empires of the Middle East that exist now. They didn't exist like that before. Go back to the 60s and the 50s and even the 40s. They were in disarray over there. They were in wars, disarray, and the United States was getting cheap gas because they were so crazy and then always in fights, and the governments were in disarray. One day, they decided, well, we got all the resources that the world needs. Why are we fighting with each other? Why are our governments not organized? Why don't we just come together and control the supply of our own resources? And they came up with OPEC. And since then, Dubai, all of these great places in the Middle East, Qatar, all these places came from that decision to unite together, control their resources and the price, and use it to the benefit of their society. Now, one day Africa will come to this same conclusion. It may take 5, 10, 20, 30 years. Africa will realize, hey, we got all the minerals. Why don't we just, instead of fighting and all this stuff, let's come together and create a cartel. Well, we control the minerals, we control the price. It's going to happen in the next 20 years. And it's going to make Africa, just like it did with the Middle East, one of the fastest growing, almost one of the not world powers, but like in the mid-tier world powers. Africa will one day unite it will be a unite. The countries will unite under this cartel. Cartel is not always bad. OPEC is a cartel, and control the flow of their resources and the price. That's going to happen eventually. Now you can invest in that because they have emerging market funds. They have emerging market different funds you can get into to invest in emerging markets, especially in Africa. So, and when we still have the CNC open, we're making a lot of money in the CNC. The price is going to be $99 next week. It's $89 now. Get locked into that $89 price. You can DM me the word CNC. The CNC is our group. It's a 5-star community. We provide instruction, free classes, accountability, stock picks. Even you can come to the events for free. We got an event in the Apollo Theater in New York City, more than likely coming up. I haven't signed the contract, but I'm assignment Monday. And anybody in the CNC comes there for free. Everybody else is going to have to pay $100 to $200. So it's a lot of benefits in being in the CNC. It's more than just the picks. It's more than just the classes. There's a lot to it. So join while you can before the price goes up. It's going to be $98 next week. Then it's going to be $125 in 1 month. So if you get locked in at this $78 price now, you'll have it forever at this price and it will never change. So DM me the word CNC or go to jointhecnc.com. So let's move on. So next thing we want to talk about is the ARM IPO. It kind of fell on Friday, but that was expected. And what should we do for the future, right? Now, there's a lot of analysts out there that are saying that ARM's IPO they're going to hold off and maybe not buy it. And I mean, most analysts, it's almost like back to that. It's almost back to that Nvidia play where most analysts said, Nvidia wasn't going to do nothing. Now, this is one of the things I'm not going to say I strongly disagree, but I'm going to say I disagree. I still think that right now, ARM stock is trading at $60, right? It went up. It started at, let me see what yesterday. So it came out at about 50 something and it went up $10, $15. And it kind of on Friday, it went down. But on Friday, a lot of stocks go down due to day traders and getting out of the market. Because a true day trader doesn't like holding the stocks over the weekend. So a lot of people got out. So I think next week we're going to see upward movement in ARM IPO. I think the options come out next week. You're going to start to see options on the market, and that's going to cause a lot of people to look at the ARM stock, ARM. And I think that it's going to be some significant movement next week. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a few reasons for this. It's not just, let me see. I think I lost my notes. Give me a second. There it is. So it's a few reasons for this, right? Let me see. So one of the reasons is that ARM's holding is a publicly traded company, right? But remember, whenever you trade a company, you don't have to sell it all. So ARM, remember we talked about how IPOs work. Let me do a quick breakdown before we go. IPO is the initial public offering. Is when a company needs to raise some capital. They sell off some of their company to the public, right? Normally the company's private, but they sell off some to the public. Then those stocks are traded on the market every day. So the company makes the money off the initial push. So ARM didn't choose to sell all their company. They only sold 10% on that IPO. So there's not a lot of stocks out there for this company. There's not a lot of people who own it. The company still owns like 80, 90, 70, 80, 90%. So there's what we call a low float. A low float, it means that the supply of this stock is limited. And this is what I think a lot of analysts are leaving out, is that on a normal IPO, when they get rid of 30, 40, even 60, 70% of their stock, there's plentiful stocks out there. That means that the supply is high. So the demand, if it's not extremely high, the IPO normally fizzles out early before that lockup period is coming. But I think that ARM, because of the AI hype cycle that we're still in, because of the low float, it's only 10% out, I think we're going to see some growth in ARM over the next 2 months. Now, when that lockup period is over, I think in 90 days from the IPO, it's probably more than likely going to drop. And it'll be down for a year or so, but then it will come back. So I think there's a great opportunity for day trading, swing trading, or even like some short-term 2-month trades for ARM. I just think you have to be careful and practice risk management. But I do see a lot of potential in this stock. Let me see some other stuff. And remember, like ARM makes a lot of chips for phones, and that's really going to be their bread and butter going forward. And remember, smartphones need more and more chips to deal with this AI movement that's coming. So I think that's a market that's still untapped, and I think ARM's going to keep going up. I just feel like it is, man. So if you need to join the CNC, text the word CNC. You could DM me the word CNC. You could text the word CNC to 89603, or you can go to jointhecnc.com and you can get signed up today. So we got something else we're going to talk about. The halving coming up. Before we talk about the halving, I'm going to talk about something else. It may cut into the halving time, but also there's another. I think that C3.ai. We made a lot of money on that earlier this year, and it dropped. It was kind of unpredictable, but it still did well. I think that one's still going to do well too. And it may not be over 3-4 months. It's not going to be fast, but I think that one got. And it's one concept that C3.ai really shines at, and that's called enterprise artificial intelligence. And we, over the last year or so, we've talked about the development and evolution of AI that was going to happen over this year. And we talk about first, companies want to build infrastructure. Next, they want to build software to match that infrastructure. So then they have to execute AI, right? To make sure, and AI has to either reduce cost, increase productivity, or increase speed or something, which is also increasing productivity. So it has to do something like that. It has to really save. It has to come down to money. So when a company got to see something in their bottom line. So this enterprise in artificial intelligence is what C3.ai, which is one of the only companies on earth that provide this, which means that companies can call them up or register with them and they can get AI integrated into that thing without going through those first two steps of the integration and building their own software. They can just call it C3.ai and they integrate into their business processes. That's why I think the C3.ai for a long-term play is still good, right? And I know we made a bunch of money earlier this year, but I think it could still be making people a lot of money over the next maybe 6 months, even a year. Let's move on to what I think I'm a little lost here. Yeah, so we're talking about halving of the Bitcoin halving is coming, right? I talk about the halving a lot, and I just got back from dinner. That's why I'm a little late for Strategy Sunday. I had a dinner just now with Robert Croak. He's an innovative person. He's big on Twitter, big on Instagram. He was the creator of Silly Bands. This dude is a great man. He knows a lot about stuff, and we was talking about a lot of this, right? How there was opportunities in this Bitcoin halving, how it was one of the most predictable cycles that we've ever seen. We talked about this for an hour, 2 hours, and like I said, is that it pains me to see a lot of people not taking heed. I was at Tuskegee University last week. And I asked who sold, it was like 100 people in the room, I guess, 150. Like, who sold their crypto? Everybody's hand went up. I said, anybody got any crypto left? No, everybody said nope. And it's sad because the banks, the elite, and the rich wanted you to do that. They wanted you to get rid of it because the power that having is significant. And like I said, people always say Bitcoin is a scam, whatever. You can name any other resource on the planet, and I replaced that. I said, well, Bitcoin's going to be halved. The supply that comes to market will be halved in March of 24. And people don't even listen. If I tell you, let's say something silly. What if Krispy Kremes said we're only going to produce half as many donuts tomorrow? What do you think will happen to the price of donuts? What if Starbucks said at the middle of the day, now they make less money, but the price of the individual donuts would go up. They make less money because they wouldn't be producing enough. But let's deal with some resource. Let's say oil. They said they were going to cut the supply of oil coming out of the ground. Now, what do you think would happen? Now, I'm going to explain what the Bitcoin halving is every 4 years, roughly every 4 years. The creator of Bitcoin wanted to create scarcity in his coin he created. So what he did to do that is that every 10 minutes, a certain amount of Bitcoins come out. It's through everybody's heard of Bitcoin mining. It's a complicated process, but it creates Bitcoins, right? So when Bitcoin first created, 25 Bitcoins came out. Now 50 Bitcoins came out every 10 minutes. Then it got cut in half. 25 Bitcoins came out every 10 minutes. It got cut in half. 12 and a half Bitcoins came out every 20 minutes. Now we got cut in half. We're going to cut in half again. 6.25 Bitcoins come out now, today. In March of 2024, 3.125 are going to come out every 10 minutes. If you look at that chart every 4 years when it happens, there's a direct relation to the price of Bitcoin going up. And then when Bitcoin goes up, all the coins go up. So it's a very, very predictable pattern because we have that hard-coded halving that's in the system. And it's very predictable. A lot of people don't even know what's happening, not paying attention. And then once it halves, and you're going to wake up one day next year, you're going to hear all the news people, all your friends talking about Bitcoin. It's too late. It's just too late. If you're on YouTube, I need you to like the video. And if you ever subscribe, please. Like I said, if you want to join the CNC, DM me the word CNC on Instagram, or you can text the word CNC to 89603. You can go to jointhecnc.com, or, and that's really all the ways you can do it. So like I said, like the video. And also, we got 630 people in here, but we only got 211 likes. That's a travesty. Y'all ain't liking the video. Y'all ain't liking the video. It's a travesty. I can't get even likes. Also, like I said, did you know that their lives will inevitably end? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I appreciate you, Monique. Man, you can see the phone in the YouTube. I didn't know that. There we go. I don't care. All right. We love you too. Like all your videos. I appreciate you. We got 209. We still didn't get no likes. Man, y'all be stingy with the likes. I can't get a like. That's crazy. So let's talk about AI in Hollywood and how it's going to affect the movie industry in the future. We're going to talk a little bit about AI also. So for those of you who don't know, contact-wise, I don't know what that dude talking about. But let's go back to, I want to talk about what's happening in Hollywood right now. I got a lot of Hollywood friends, talking to them. And I didn't really know the depth of what's happening. Now, the Hollywood actors, writers, and everybody's on strike. The reason why they're on strike is because Hollywood, Warner Brothers, Disney, and all these big production studios, they want to take people. Like, so for example, you're a writer, right? You wrote like a bunch of episodes, a bunch of shows. They want to take your writing, put it into AI, and produce content without paying you the original fee. They also want to scan in actors' faces and then get a voice print of their voice and then just create content like that. And the actors are fighting against it. That's the core of what's happening with the actors' strike. And that's what the future is going to be about. Is a lot of things that we see in what we do every day is going to be changed significantly by AI. And that's why we have to be prepared. It's very important. And I consider myself a futurist. I am a futurist. So it's very important to constantly think about the future, because to be honest, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a wealth builder, if you are a stock trader, if you are trying to make money any kind of way, you almost can't even live in the present. I'm going to say it again. You can't live in the present. You have to live in the future. Your ideas, your mindset, your everything has to be 6 months, a year, 2 years into the future. Because once these things happen, it's too late. You already missed it. Because your competitors, there's always competitors, have already been living in the future. So that's why I put myself, I'm always 6 months ahead, a year ahead, 2 years ahead, always mentally. I'm here presently, but I'm in 2026 mentally. And if you do, and people say, how do you do that? I'm explaining how you do that. It's something called in science called thought exercises, right? And that's what you do. And people don't like to think. They don't want to think. They don't want to think. You have to come up with scenarios and think them through. Like, what would happen if Hollywood replaces AI? Well, they're going to need maybe graphic designers. Well, AI can do that. Well, what about like The Rock, for example? If they can produce him in multiple ways, who's going to make that money? Somebody has to make it. Well, The Rock's going to make it. Well, how can I invest in some technologies that may help this? The metaverse, maybe will the metaverse become more popular if you can get in there and you could talk to The Rock, or you can hang out with him, or his likeness and everything will be in a video game like he's really there. Well, maybe the video industry game is going to go up, or maybe, you have to go through these, and some of the paths you go down may be stupid. Nothing stupid. I should change the word. Maybe it's going to be silly to you. Maybe you may think about it a week too late. Oh, that was a dumb idea. But just thinking of them has made you, has put you in a better position, because you starting to think about where you're putting yourself into the future and trying to predict what's coming next. And if you're able to do that successfully and consistently, you can make a lot of money on that. Let's see if we got any questions here. Yeah, we still don't have no likes. 370 and there's 700 people in here. That's crazy. Would you possibly start Monday morning, 30 minutes earlier? Should I move Strategy Sunday to 8 o'clock? Somebody's asking. Let me ask you guys. Should I move Strategy Sunday? Somebody asked a question. You said you became a millionaire at 450 credit score. Yeah, I did. I'm going to answer that question since we got 3 or 4 minutes. I became a millionaire because I built a company and sold the company. I didn't need a credit score for that. I didn't use credit at the time, because even when I'll tell you my whole story, right? Is when I was 18 years old, I'm gonna tell you the whole story. 18 years old, I walked on the college campus of Austin Peay State University. The first day I see this table, and they had T-shirts. And they said, hey, man, you want one of these T-shirts? All you got to do is sign up for this Discover card. It's all right, man. So I put my name down. I put zero income, put a line through it, and got my free T-shirt. And he put the application in a pile. About 3 weeks later, I get a Discover card in the mail with $1,000 credit limit. At that point, you got to remember, I didn't even know anybody that had a credit card. I mean, nobody in my family had no credit card. So I was like, oh, man. So I went to a place called CD Now. I bought about 10 CDs. I went with my friend Anthony down to the mall. I bought a leather jacket, and I ordered pizzas and all this food until one day my card wouldn't work. I was scared. It declined. Okay, well, I guess I used the limit up. I put the card to the side, never paid one bill. And that was because I was financially illiterate then. I didn't, I was young. And then I started getting these letters and stuff like that, and I just didn't pay it, never paid it. And I guess and that means that my credit score went all the way down after that. So from 18 for 7 years, remember, it was my first credit card and I just completely destroyed it. From 18 to 25, I had bad credit. So I didn't even think in credit. I always bought everything in cash. I bought a TV when I got out of college. I bought everything in cash. So it kind of formed my mind. So I thought of cash. I bought everything in cash. That's it. So I would only take out money for a produced asset. So when I'm 25, 26, my credit is back good. So, all through my late 20s, I had good credit. So I started a company when I was 29, a software company. And that company, it was doing real well at first, ended up doing bad. So I used that good credit and I took out a bunch of bad business loans that I shouldn't have taken out, but I did. And because it was ego driven. I was pride driven. I didn't want people to know my company's failing. So the company kept failing. I just had loans out, and the loans actually made it worse because the interest on the loans was so high. So I ended up going bankrupt, right? So the company went bankrupt, but the loans were personally guaranteed. So I had to, so I called the people, the creditors. It was like 3 or 4 different creditors. I said, look, man, I can't pay these bills. Well, you got to pay it. I said, all right, man, let's just do a deal. Okay, well, one said we can stop the interest Another one said we can settle for less, but you got to pay. You know, it was different deals I didn't work out. But when you work out a deal like that, you're not paying the full amount, or you're not paying interest, so it hits your credit harder, boom, 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 on all these accounts. My credit went down to 450. I'm about 33, 34 years old. So, I mean, that was it. It was a lot of money, $180,000, all bad debt. I mean, that's a lot of money. So, I paid the debt off, actually. I went to work at a company called AAA. It's, the car roadside assistance company, but I ran the travel software project. So it wasn't, I made a lot of money there. And then I also taught at night. I taught at school. So I taught at night computer science. And I did this for 2.5 years till I paid off all that debt. So the debt was paid off, but I still had bad credit. Because credit takes 7 years to drop off. That was only like 4 years in. So I started working. I started a software company in my free time with my business partner. It took off in like we built it in 6 months, took off. We was making millions of dollars a year on that, millions of dollars a year on that. 6 months after that, a company came and bought it from us for, 8-figure deal. So it was in stock and there wasn't no crypto. It was stock and it was a crypto site, but it was in stock and cash, and it was vested out over a couple of years. So I became a millionaire. That's how I became a millionaire with a 450 credit score. I didn't need the credit to build. And then after I got the money, called a law firm up. Hey man, I need you to fix my credit. All right. Well, we're going to do all the legal fees. We're going to put some paralegals on it. We'll get your credit fixed in about a year. So I paid a good amount of money. And they fixed it in a year. I had an 800 credit score. That's how I got back to 800. Yeah, you default on credit, man. It's gonna kill you. It'll kill your credit score. But that's how it became. So that's what I'm saying is the credit ain't that important. It is important. It's very. I should say it's very important, really. But you can do it. I should change what I said. You can do it without a credit score. That's what I should say. I mean, I use my own intellect, my own skills, and my own talent, and I built something out of nothing. I didn't need no capital. I built this on a computer by myself. I built that multi-million-dollar company. I didn't need no input, no capital. That's why I love tech so much, because they ain't even let's say, they didn't even know who I was when they bought. They never met me. The publicly traded company that bought my company, or our company, because I have a partner, never even met me, never saw me in my face. They didn't even meet me. They was all on the phone and through a business broker. They never met me. They couldn't discriminate against me, couldn't do nothing against me, because they never saw me. And I built it by myself with code and never had to put a dollar into it. And that's what I'm saying, is that it's ways to make it without, I need a business loan. They won't help me. If I just had a loan, man, I could do it. All that stuff, man, you can do it yourself. You don't need that. If I had good credit, I can get a business loan and flip it out. I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that there's ways to get ahead. There's ways to make money. There's ways to build wealth where you lose your intellect, your work, and stuff that you already got. Right? I didn't put no money into none of my businesses. And I do now, but at first I didn't. When I first got $1 million, I didn't put no money into it. None. And everybody has the possibility to do that, because technology is so easy now that you don't have to have them advanced coding skills like you had to 10 years ago. When you can build stuff on plug and play things. And you can build a website on AI now. It just comes out. They have Spotify. I'm not Spotify, I'm sorry, Shopify. All of these things, you don't have to put no money into it. Drop shipping, where you could just sell a product and it connects to AliExpress and just drop ship it that way. There's so many opportunities to make a lot of money if you just use your intellect, you think, and you're willing to go through a few failures before you get to that success. That's what people don't want to do. They don't want to go through those failures. And I'm going to tell you one story that I was talking to my mom earlier. I'm going to tell you a story, because I put up a picture today earlier of, and I like talking about what I went through. I put a picture up online early today when I was I was a teacher, computer science teacher. I had my little thing on. I was sitting at the teacher's desk. And when I was a teacher that year, when I got out of, I was either grad school. It was when I was in school, right now it was undergrad. So I got out of undergrad, and I had a few grad classes under my belt. So I was able to teach computer science at a college, right? So that summer was one of the roughest summers of my life. I was about 22, 23 years old. And I had one class because they just gave me one class at first, like to try me out or whatever. The next semester I had a full load. But they gave me one computer science class, one. So that means I was only making about $800 a month. That's it from that class. So I had to find another job. So what I did is I went to a place called Ready Labor. I think it was called Ready Labor. And they said, well, we got a job for you in a factory down there, the train factory in Clarksville, Tennessee. So, all right, I'll take it. I'll teach my class in the daytime. It was 3 days a week. Then I'll go to train and work at night. And that'd be a decent amount of money until I get my classes next semester. So I got a class of about 40 people. And I'm teaching them computer science, right? In the daytime. Now go home, go to sleep. And this is what my daily schedule was. And I'm going to tell you why it's so shocking. That was the first time I taught. Later on, it was different. And I was actually waiting for a full load, but I couldn't wait. I'm not a person that would sit back and wait on money. So I'm working as a computer science professor, and I teach my classes, right? And the night I would go home, go back to sleep, wake up in the middle of the night because the shift started at 11 to 7, and then I would 11 to 7, and I would work at night. Now, the shocking thing about that is that I would have to put on coveralls. They were dirty. I had glue all over me because I was putting the insulation on side the units. I was real dirty, had them goggles on. And a lot of people in Clarksville, Tennessee work at that train factory. It's it's the biggest factory there. Guess who worked alongside me? Think about that. My students. Now think about how weird that was for me. I was embarrassed, and I'll be working at the train. I was working at the train, and then a lot of those good old boys would come up to me because remember you didn't know this, but every summer in college I worked at train because that was a summer program for college students. So I worked at college. I worked there 2 summers prior to that, so I knew a lot of the people that worked there because we built bonds and stuff, and they all knew I was in college. So that summer when I was working at train, I was a teacher. And I also had working right next to my students, that was embarrassing. But the second thing that was embarrassing is that I just got out of college, and some of those good old boys working in the factory would come up and make jokes about me. They would come up and point at me and say, you see that dude over there? He went to college all them years. He working right alongside me, and I ain't even finished high school. They would laugh at me. They would make fun of me. And some of it was in a joking way, just a friendly way, but some of it was really mean-hearted. And I went through that, right? And now, I was talking to my mom about this earlier. I'm like, a lot of people wouldn't even have went through that. They would have said, I went to college, I ain't gonna work in no factory, and that was the end of it. People do not want to go through what it takes to be successful. You got to go through pain, suffering, humiliation. People are going to scream at you. People are going to say bad stuff to you. You're going to lose money. Somebody along the way is going to scam you. But then you come out positive in the end. And a lot of people don't want to go through that path. Some of y'all are going through that path right now. You don't know if you should give up. You're sad, maybe a little hopeless. But you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And hope on the horizon is something, it will work out. I promise you it's going to work out. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Boom, boom, boom. Even though sometimes you don't even know if you can I know I can make one foot. I don't even know if I can do the next one, but I'm just going to keep moving. I don't even see an end to this. I don't even see how this is all going to work out, but I just got to keep moving forward. One foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. I promise you, with enough time, it'll work out. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great night. Remember, join the CNC tonight. Free events. It's a lot of great things. A lot of people make a lot of money with our stock picks in there. People put their kids through college. They bought houses, a lot of stuff from small investments that we put them on in the CNC. Also, like I said, you get access to the events, the live events. You get access to the live streams. You get access to the classes. It's actually I should be charging like 3 times what I'm charged, but I do it kind of to make sure we get as much impact as possible. Somebody said, my boy is a wise man. I'll hit you up tomorrow. Come play at LA Fitness. LA Fitness where? In Tampa? Health freak? Just DM me, man. Let me know. Yeah, my experience, man, like, I share my experience, but it wasn't always easy. I come from a poor family. My father left when I was 3. Sometime I remember one time, and I don't want to tell that story. I'll tell it later. But it was a bad story too. I'm gonna tell it. That same summer, I remember I was driving to work one day. It was a bad summer, man. And I was driving to work one day, and my car broke down, and I had to walk back home. And I remember walking back home. I was like, God dang it! I put all this work in college and all this stuff, and this is how I'm still driving beat up cars that break down. I remember, and I had my coveralls on, about to go to work and everything. I remember that, and I thought to myself, man, I've done all this work. And I'm still walking down the street and my beat up car is behind me, and I can't even get it home. But everything worked out, and I promise you it'll work out for you also. All right, text me tomorrow, Health Freak. Have a nice day. I hope you guys have a great week, and remember, join the CNC.